Welcome back to Board Game Breakdown. I am Christopher Solomon here with another how to play video, and this time we are going to look at Unconscious Mind. So this is a pretty full Eurogame, a lot of different mechanisms. So this how to play video is going to go through setup and the whole shebang. So if you are looking for a shorter video, just trying to understand what is this game all about, please click this link here for our burst video. If you're looking for exactly how to play all the actions, then stay right here. I will mention there is a chapter for solo setup. That's a little different, so I've inserted that in there because if you go to the website and check out the review, the text review, it's more based on how this game plays solo. So I didn't want to leave the solo people out, so you can check that out in the chapter notes. But the rest of the game plays pretty much the same, and you can go look at the text review if you're interested to see how the actual solo opponent, which is called the id, works. So again, this is a Euro game that's got a lot of different mechanisms. So there's like worker placement type mechanism where you're going to be putting ideas down on this board to take actions. There's a couple different rondels. So you've got some player meeples that move around in a circle. You're going to have a player board that you'll see in the video where you move an ink pot around. And basically you're trying to gain these insights, different colors and levels, because you want to help your clients, which here are a couple examples. You want to help them figure out why they're having these dreams. And there's two types of dream cards. They're really cool artwork. And you're going to be using those insights and resources to kind of cure the clients, hopefully get your reputation to move forward, which will also help Freud, his reputation to move forward. And then there's a lot of other little extra things going on as far as getting tag bonuses, grabbing cards for research. There's a lot happening, but stick with the video because I promise you this game is really, really awesome. It's going to look like a lot. The board's going to look like a lot, but once you start playing it, it's not as complicated as it seems, especially if you've played any modern Euro games recently. You're going to see a lot of some of the same mechanisms used, but maybe in a neat and different, cool way. So before we get right into the rest of the video, please make sure to go to the website, check out the text reviews, check out the other videos that are posted there, subscribe to our YouTube, check us out on Instagram or Mastodon. We're on the social media stuff. Let me know what you think of the videos. And with that, we will go ahead and get started on Unconscious Mind. All right, welcome to the first part of the Unconscious Minds video where we are going to be setting up the two main boards. So you have the meeting board here, you have the city map board there. So real quick, this is going to be focused mainly on multiplayer, but I will add a tiny chapter of setup for what's different for the solo players. Mainly because I wrote up a text review, which you can find on the website, but I did not go into setup there because it's just too much to explain. And so I gave a link, but I don't want to leave the solo players out. So it'll be like the third chapter. You can skip to it, but even if you're solo, make sure to watch these because a lot of this is going to be the same. Also, hopefully audio-wise, you do not hear the air conditioning running in the background. I usually shut it off for these videos, but it's like 100 degrees here in Georgia right now, and I am not going to do this without the air conditioning. So hopefully that is not going to interrupt our video. But let's get started. I've put a few things out here just to make it so you don't have to watch me do everything. But let's concentrate first on this board down here, the meeting table board. And the way I have it like laid out is not the recommended way from the instruction book. I will show you that real quick. It looks like this, but you would need a really tall table to do it like that. My wife and I, when we play, we usually turn it like this on the table and set it up. But just to get it in the frame, I'm doing it slightly different, so it's up to you. I don't think it really matters where everything is at, as long as you can reach everything. And you haven't even seen the player board part of it, so be ready for this to take up a lot of your table space. Okay, so back to the meeting table down here. A few things that you'll note is I've already put out some of these little dialogue. I believe they are called let's see. Idea pieces. So I'm probably going to get a lot of these names slightly wrong because there's a lot of components. But you take in a two-player game, which is what we're going to set up here. So in a one or two-player game, you're going to cover up these two columns here on the outside with a color that you're not using. So we are going to be playing as pink and teal in this video. So I put out the brown and the orange or whatever color these are supposed to be. In a 3 or 4 player game, you would not put those out and you would just let those spaces be free. But this is kind of a way to create some scarcity amongst the action spaces. All right, so we've put those out. I've also already made stacks of these notebook tiles. And I'm going to show you, so depending on how many players, you are going to get a certain amount. So for 1 to 2 player, we're doing 12 of these tiles. They have a side that is like this. You want to start them on this side. And there's going to be a pile that is page 1. And then you also have a pile down here that's slightly darker brown. And it's got a 2 there. So you get 12 of these, 12 of those. You place them there and you're going to flip over the first 2 and there's a little emblem here letting you know, and open them up like that. And then you're going to do the same thing with number 2. All right, so we got that squared away. Other than that, this board is now basically done. You'll be using this board a lot in the actual game, but as far as setup, boom, that's squared away. So let's move up this way and get to the city map board. All right, so the only real thing I've put out here are these little stacks of district tiles. Let's see if I can focus. And so you've got 3 colors. You've got a red, green, and a purple. There's a red, a green, and a purple district. The one I just showed you has like a little gold icon on it. That is the reputation icon, which you'll also see there. That one needs to be on top. The rest are just plain red, green, or purple. So you'll go ahead and make your stacks there. Don't be surprised if I knock those over. They're pretty fiddly, and I'm just going to leave them in piles. It's not that big of a deal. Other things on this board are you want your reputation tracker here. That's got Freud and the same little V icon as you saw on those. You're going to go and place it there. He starts on that first space. For the player, they also have a reputation token, which sort of looks like a house maybe, or maybe it's supposed to be a book like this. I don't know. But it's going to go here, both colors. And then you'll also have a score marker, which has 100 on one side, nothing on the other. They're going to go here. And then you're going to have 2 player meeples, but we're going to talk about them when we get into the player setup. So just have them out. They are going to go on this board, but I'm not quite ready to tell you about those yet. Then we have 3 additional things that need to go on the board. And so this one is Freud. He has to go on the board. Okay, you've got to play with him. But there is this kind of extra 2 pieces that are sort of, I guess, part of modules that come with the game. I don't know why you wouldn't use them. They make the game better. So we're going to use them. So you have the journalist and you have the fireworks. Okay, so we got to figure out where these guys go. What I do, and I think what the instruction manual recommends, I broke the standee, okay, is to grab these cards here, which we're going to lay out. These are location goal tiles. And what you're going to notice is that each one of them has a set of tags that matches one of the locations on the city map. So you've got like an opera singer here. You have some books maybe for a museum or a library or something. That one doesn't have anything. You have like a play. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to shuffle these up. And what I usually do is the first one I draw out, boom, this one is the painter. I don't know what that's called. A palette? Sure. You're going to take that, and that's where Freud's going to go. So let's take Freud. Let's find that. Here it is. He's going to go there. And then these are going to go out somewhere around the board. Doesn't matter where. We'll stick them right there. I'm going to talk to you about those in a second. And then the next one I pulled out is whatever this is supposed to be. Who knows? But that's where the journalist is going to go. Boom, right there. And then the next one, I'm going to look at the color. So this is the red district. And I'm going to put the fireworks in the red district next to this area that's like the district bonus. All right, so the rest of them we're just going to put out so that everybody can see them. Again, like I said, when we get into the actual game, I'll talk about what's happening with these. The last thing you have over here is the starter marker. So we will put that on the clock, the stopwatch side, and that's going to go to the green player when we set that up. All right, so that's basically what you got to go do on the boards. And then over here, you'll see a bunch of cards. We got to set up the market. So we got to set up our clients and dreams and all of that before we can get started. So you're going to have two sets of clients. You can tell them by their back here. The front looks like this. Okay, so these ones that have like a blue and a female silhouette, these clients I think are, let's see, routine clients is what they're called. So you're going to put them like this and you're going to flip over two. You're also going to have a set that is kind of, it's a male silhouette and it's kind of like brownish. The fronts of these look very similar. The big difference is going to be down here, which we'll talk about more playing. But these are case study clients. And so we'll shuffle those up and we'll put two out as well. All right, so that's our starting client market. You will have a box like this that has clear grief layers. So if you've ever played Canvas, you'll have seen these. I'm sure they're in other games too. That's where I'm most familiar with them though. But you'll shuffle them up and put them in the box. And one of them is going to cover each client. So we'll pull those out. Boom, boom, boom. These are manifest dream cards. You're going to shuffle those and you're going to make a row of 4. These are latent dreams. You're not going to show any of these. You're just going to shuffle them up, put them out there. You also have a little pile of bright idea tokens that you want somewhere. And then you have the treatise tiles here. And I don't really have a good space to put them, so I'm just going to show you. There's going to be 3 sets. Each set is kind of, you'll see, starts with one color book, either blue, green, or purple. So you see, I'm sorry, I said blue. It's not blue at all. Red, green, or purple. And so you'll have an 8.1, a 10.1, and a 12.1. And you'll have the same thing for the green and the purple. So you just need to like lay these out somewhere where everyone can get to them and see what is left as far as what hasn't been published and things like that. So we're just going to put those up there. They're not wildly important to this setup part of the video. I will make sure to explain them during the regular game. And then we do have to set up like a little starter market for the person to, players to decide who they're going to start with. But I'm going to show you that on the player side. So as far as we are concerned here with this main portion, this is all ready to go. So I'm going to change the camera angle a little bit so we don't have to move this all around too much. And I'm going to show you exactly what you need to do on your player board. All right, welcome back. We are going to look at setting up your player board. So if you'll remember from the previous chapter, we are playing a 2-player game. I'm going to show you how to set up the teal player, but you would set up the pink player almost exactly like this. If you're here for solo, please watch this because you need to know how to set up your board, and then the next chapter you can skip to see how to set up the AI board. But you'll grab your actual player board here that matches whatever color you're doing. You'll get your office board, again, that's in your color, and you'll get an insight dial. They're all the same for every player, so just grab one. And you'll grab 7 clear insight tokens. And you'll throw those in the middle there. Then you will get all your player components, which come in this nice handy dandy tray that they give you. So you'll grab those out. A few of those we already went over in the main board setup, such as the scoring tile. But the other ones you're going to end up having are your ink pot here. So that's going to start in this top location there. You're going to have a heart-shaped box tracker, which is just a green token for everybody. It starts on 0. You're going to have a coffee tracker. Everyone's looks the same. It's going to start on 3. Unless you are the second player, then you will put that on 4. If you're third or fourth player, you get some additional things to, possibly additional coffee. Also some of the light bulb tokens I showed you at the beginning. So just check the instruction manual for 3 or 4 players to know what you get. You're going to get a set of idea tokens in your color here. Now I put them all down here, but what you do want to do is take 3 of them, and you're going to put 3 of them in these little spaces up here because they are yet to be unlocked. So you'll be left with 3 that you can use at the start of the game. You're also going to have insight tokens, much like the clear ones, but that are in your color. You'll have 6 of those, so 3 slot in right there and 3 slot in right there. For your office, everyone's office looks like this little T, and you're going to have just 2 tokens here that are your color that are going to start on the leftmost heart symbol here. And I'll zoom this in and show you what this track looks like. We'll talk about it more when we get into the actual game, but we'll put that back down there. You are going to want space to have cards here and cards here, so lay it out accordingly. And then you were going to take a set of office cards, and you will see they've got A, B, and these 2 symbols, which, I mean, that's a triangle. I do know what that is, but I have no clue what that is. You're going to shuffle these up, and you're going to deal 1 to each player. So this will be the teal one. This will be the pink player. Okay. The other ones can go back in the box. So let's see. I'm going to be that weird symbol that I don't know. Pink is going to be A. So you're going to take this card, you're going to put it down here in this right office because this office is locked for the time being. We'll discuss how to get that open. But this symbol is important as there are stacks of starter notebook tiles here, and there is 1 of each color, and they have the symbol on the left side. So you want to grab the stack that matches your symbol. So I'm going to grab this stack here, and I'm going to choose 1 of these to start with. And this is going to tell me a few different things. 1, it's going to tell me what my starting insights are, and all of them have 4. And you don't know what an insight is right now, but we will discuss it. But the way it's set up is if you pick the red one, you're going to get 2 reds and then 1 of each other color. If you pick green, 2 greens and 1 of each other color, 2 purples and 1 of each other color. All right, so you're going to get these. It's also going to give you a spot here that tells you where your meeple is going to start out at. And you'll remember from the setup map, we put up Freud and all the journalists and all those people, but I mentioned that your meeple didn't know where to go yet, so you're going to base it off of this tile here. Okay, so we need to go ahead and just grab these tiles out. We do not have to choose it just yet. That's going to come in a minute, but I'm going to go ahead and grab these so I know that I've got them. And then I'll grab the A set here for pink. Oops. And I will square that away with the pink board, probably off camera, because there's no way I'm going to fit both boards and all the main stuff in the camera when we get to the real game. All right, so I did mention in setup that you have to start out with a client. So I just grabbed 3 of the standard routine clients from the deck, put them here. We do need to put grief layers on these, but I'm going to show you. There are starting grief layers, and you will know that by this little graduation cap up here in the corner. So I think there's 5 of them. They're all the same. They all award the same thing. They just look different. So we're going to put a starting grief layer on each of these. The rest can go back in the box. And starting in reverse order, so remember that teal is first. So pink would get to draft a starting card. So they would pick one of these, and then they would pick, let me grab it. They would draw the top latent dream card. You don't get to choose these. You just have to draw the first one. And then they would choose one of the 4 manifest dream cards that we put in the row at the beginning. So we're just going to say, hey, pink wants to grab this person. Cool. Put that there. And pink's latent dream looks like this. And then I grab this one out of the stack and or off the row for the manifest dream, and that is going to be their dream combo for this guy here. Okay, so I'm going to just put that to the side because that's pink. You don't really care about pink right now. Now teal, we're left with these 2. So I'm going to grab her, and for him, this goes away. He goes back into the stack on the bottom, so you can eventually play with him. All right, but there's a few things to look here, and hopefully the glare is not too bad because the lights on this kind of clear card are kind of crazy. But the main thing right now to focus on is how many hearts. So she has 5 hearts, and you are going to take your little token here in the left office, and you're going to move it up 5 spots. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, and then she is going to go in the left office, like so. Now, I do want to show you real quick that if you were to pick someone that has 7 hearts and you land right here, you would go ahead and get 2 victory points. So the ones that are harder to cure, you're going to get points just for grabbing them. But for her, she starts at a 5, so we'll put her there. We're going to grab up her latent dream card off the stack, and it ends up being this. And so this card, move these down a little bit. Don't really need to see the top of that right now. That's going to go like this. And then I drafted this set of kittens in, I don't know, army suits from back in the French Revolution. I don't know. You're going to grab those and you're going to put that here. So you'll always have, when you're working on a client with a grief layer to start, a latent dream, and a manifest dream. And that is how that starts. Okay? Again, this one's locked, so we don't need any set here. Then, starting with the first player, which is teal, we're going to select which one of these we want to do. So I would normally recommend, you don't know what all these symbols really mean yet, but you will soon enough. But this person is going to need a lot of greens and a lot of reds, or I mean purples, to handle their dreams here. So, you know, I like this action. And whatever this action is, we don't do it right now, but you will be able to do it when you start playing. So I'm going to take this one, so I'll put these other ones away. So what does that tell me? I need to make first 2 greens, a purple, and a red on the first layer. So you'll see that these have little icons on them, and they're going to match up with icons over on the dial. I will not get into that right now. We'll do that during the regular game. But I'm going to take 2 of these and put them on this first row of green. And remember, I make 1 red and I make 1 purple. And so I have 3 still available for my insights. I'm also going to take my meeple and put them on the book space, which you will see once we reset the camera. And then I'm going to take this, I'm going to flip it over, because remember, this is the action I'm going to get to start with, and I'm going to put it on one of these rows. And because this thing needs a green insight to do, this would mean I pay a green insight and I do this thing, which is upgrading. I'm going to slot it into the green row. And you've got a green row, a purple row, and a red row. But you can feel free to slot it anywhere on the leftmost column that you would like. But I think you'll understand more as you play the game or watch the video how that works. So pink would do the same exact thing. They would have the same setup, and then you are ready to start. So I'm going to take a break. I'm going to reset this, and I'm going to quickly show the people who are interested what the AI board is going to look like, because it's going to be very similar. I'm going to use the teal one just so I don't have to pull out a whole nother set. But if you're not interested in solo, skip that chapter and you can jump over to the gameplay chapter. All right, so if you're watching this chapter, then you are interested in the solo version of the game. So we're going to quickly talk about what to set up for the solo board. As far as the rest of the video goes, I really am going to concentrate on the multiplayer, but you can go read the rest of the text review, which gives you more information about the solo mode itself and how to play it. So we're using teal for the AI. In the game, it's called the id. That's what you're going against. So a few things that are different. Let's look at. So you'll have the board. You'll notice that the AI already has a ton of notebook tiles out. So they get 9 to start with. And you'll see they're kind of like grayed out because they haven't flipped them over yet. But you can put them in any order that you want, as long as each row is the same color and you're doing them 1, 2, 3, left to right. But like the next time I play, I can put these brown ones up on the top to kind of differentiate things. And depending on what difficulty you want to do, some of them would start flipped over. So I think the easiest one difficulty has you flip over just the top left action. So we'll do that. They still get this ink pot here, but they are going to get this little gizmo, and it's basically going to block up this space because that space changes for the solo mode. So you're going to put that there. They still get their ideas and block the ideas there. They're still going to draft from the same selection that you do. You will have this little compass, which I don't know how I feel about this. But basically what I do is flip it. Okay, so we start with left. So whenever the AI has a decision to make, they need to pick the leftmost thing, and then you flip it, and the next decision is the rightmost thing, and you keep going back and forth. So that would tell you basically which of those 3 starting cards that we had down here, they would pick the leftmost one if it was there. And then you would turn to the right, and they would pick the rightmost dream tile or dream card. Okay, so that's how decisions are made for the AI. You're going to have a deck of discussion table cards here that are basically going to be the way that the AI makes a decision on what to play. So you just need to grab those out, put them there. You do have 2 kind of info cards. This one tells you basically what to convert these different symbols into, because the AI really doesn't care about a lot of the symbols. You'll see that the AI doesn't even have an insight dial that we used to have right there. So they're never going to be like upgrading or doing anything. They really only care about coffee and heart-shaped boxes, and that's how they're going to be curing their clients. So while you play, you'll use this card here. This card basically tells you the turn action like sequence. So like on this side, they do this first, then this, then this, and eventually they'll rest and they do this, this, and this. So that's just informational. And then these down here, you're going to have let's see, 4 that are going to be the different colors. You set them out in whatever order you want them, and then you're going to match up. So if I have green on top, I'm going to have the green symbol here, match up with that. And these are going to, like, basically once the AI cures a client, a lot of these special scoring that the regular players are going to use aren't really going to help the AI at all. So they're going to take one of these and they're going to like cover things up. Okay, and you're going to work top to bottom on covering things up. And that's just going to help them get more tags, basically, or points at the end of the game. And you would still place, they have a meeple just like we have that you would place out on the board. I'm pretty sure it goes wherever Freud goes at the start. So if you watch that setup chapter, you saw where he went. We kind of randomly placed that out, and you would just put their meeple in the same place, since they're not starting out with one of these tiles that allows you to choose the tile and then see where to go. All right, so that is basically the AI. So we're going to jump into the multiplayer game. The multiplayer one, your turn is almost identical to solo. So if you're just interested in seeing how the game plays, I would definitely keep watching. But for the intricate solo details, maybe go check out the text review. All right, so we are going to get into the gameplay, and this game has a lot going on, so I'm going to try not to make this be like an hour long, but give you enough information to get you playing, or at least understand if you would like this game or not. So basically, I've taken the market, I've pushed it to the side. I don't think you really need to see that as we're kind of going through the action and stuff. And obviously the second player, which would be the pink player in this instance, you can't see their board, but I'll be able to mimic enough of how the game works on teal. So we'll kind of just go from there. So an action, or not action, a turn, consists of a possible 3 things to do, okay? The first is to state ideas, the second is to recall ideas, and the third is to treat patients. All right, so we're going to just kind of go through each of those and look at the majority of this will be stating ideas, and that's using this board, and what each of these actions do. A lot of these will influence the rest of this, and we'll discuss it, and then we'll talk about what happens when you recall an action, and then it'll kind of all culminate in how do you treat the patients or the clients, which is kind of the end goal here. So in order to state an idea, you're going to take one of your available idea tokens. And remember, I mentioned in setup, but maybe you didn't watch that. These 3 up here are not unlocked yet, so you're going to just start out with 3. And you're going to place it on one of these empty spots in one of these 2 columns. And you will see that the little like dialogue cloud bubble thing that points down, you can point it to either this action or this action, or if you go here, you can point it up or over there like that. So you're going to have some options of which row that you put it in and which action you point it to. Now, some of the rules here are you cannot put it on an action that's already taken up. So if teal is there as pink, I can't also place it on top of there. And you cannot point it towards an action that you already have a bubble pointed towards. So if I did that action later on in this round, I could not come back and point another one and do this again. But there is a way to trigger it twice. You can actually stack 2 of these and place them here, and you would do that action twice. Maybe a better option is eventually you're going to win these light bulbs, and you could place a light bulb on top of that, and that would allow you to trigger that action twice. Now the light bulb is going to go away at the end of the round when you recall ideas, but that's just a way so that you can double up on these actions if you need to. So I think the best thing to do is to kind of go through each of these actions, work our way down, top to bottom, left to right, because they do. Well, actually, let's scrap that. We're gonna kind of jump around, and we'll discuss these, and then we'll talk about how it affects the ink pot. So your first row up here is a way to get new notebook tiles and place them into your board. Okay, so you'll see here that this first one costs 1 coffee. It has 1 coffee symbol, and it gives you a plus sign which means you can take this or this, and you would take it and place it directly into your open spots, either here or here. Now you don't get to trigger this action at all because it only costs 1 coffee, but you could do that twice if you wanted to. Now as you move to the right, this action and this action, this one costs 2 coffee. So if I did that, I would pay my 2 coffee, which remember is up here on this little tracker. And I would get to add either one of these or one of these pages, but there is a lightning bolt here, meaning that I would get to trigger this action or this action. So I might take this one here. We'll just look at it. I would immediately create 2 green insights if I wanted to, and then I would flip this over and I would choose where to place it on my board. If I go all the way over here and spend 3 coffee, so that would be all of my coffee when I start out, I get to choose this or this one, but there are 2 lightning bolts. So in that case, I would get to trigger this right now, I would get to trigger this right now, and then I would flip this over and I would place it over on my board. All right, so you're going to want to obviously put more tiles, more notebook page tiles into your board, because eventually you're going to be moving this around this rondel and it's going to trigger more actions, but we will get into that. So just hold that thought, okay? But the thing to take away here is this top row is a way to get more pages and put them into your board. If this one is taken, then this one slides over and this one flips over like that, and you cycle through the tiles. Eventually, the tiles could go all the way away and you see a victory point amount there, and you get the victory points instead of the tiles if you've run through the whole list there. All right, so let's move down and let's talk about these 2, because these have to do with insights. And the insights are going to be over here, and this is going to be the main thing that you are gunning for in order to treat your patients. Okay, so I'm going to grab an empty dial to show you. We talked a little bit about this earlier, but let's talk about it more. So you see the 3 colors. That's pretty self-explanatory. But within each color, you're going to see, sorry, I hit the camera. You're going to see 3 different, I don't know, we'll call them levels, right? So you've got this first level here has this just little diamond or square, depending on how you hold it. The second level is a little bigger and has a hexagon and a different emblem. And then the outer level here is a circle and has a very large icon, a bird, fire, a flower. So you're going to be moving those little clear insights around this board and depending on what you need and what actions you take. Okay, so I'm going to put that here in case I need to refer to it. But if you look down here, let's first talk about these. So this one has 1 of each of the diamond insights. So if you took this action, if I were to take this and place it here, all I would do is generate 1 of each of those. So I would go to my middle here, my blank ones that I haven't used, and I would say generate a red, generate a green, and generate a purple. Now sometimes you might not have any more, and say I came into this like that, and I need to generate a green, a purple, and a red, and I only have 2 though. So I say, okay, I'm going to generate a red, I'm going to generate a purple, and man, I really need that other green. So I could just take this red and turn it into a green, okay? Because I'm not like adding another one. I'm just sort of shifting it because this gives me that ability. Now these are the only way you can generate, is when you have this type of icon. Now it might be that it tells you it's this icon. That's fine. That means you would generate 1 on this level, but generating them has to mean that they come from the middle and go out here, unless you are out, and then you could replace 1. That is different from this emblem, which is an up arrow, and that is an upgrade. Okay, so an upgrade is different in that you cannot upgrade a clear insight from the middle up to there. That's not an upgrade. That is a generate. An upgrade is when you take one from a level and move it up one level. Okay, so this action here, if I were to take it, it allows me to upgrade twice, and also, if I need to, move one horizontally. So if that were the case, I could say, I can move this one up one level purple, I can move this one up one level red, and then I could swivel this from green to purple. Alternatively, if I wanted to use both my upgrades on the same one, I could say, well, this guy's going to upgrade twice to the outer red, and then I'll swivel this red around to there. You see that I'm not taking any from the middle and moving them out, because again, this is not a generate action. This is an upgrade or a horizontal move. So those symbols you're going to find a lot of places. And so just be aware of that so you know the difference. All right, let's jump over to these two symbols here, these two actions, which are going to be in relation to this map here. All right, so you have an action here that you can do either or, and you'll see a lot of times they've got like this little icon, and they have like a faded one. That means you could do this, move this once or twice. So this action is you move your meeple either one space around the circle or 2 spaces around the circle, or you can move it directly to Freud. Now, if you're playing with the journalist, remember this guy? He's basically like Freud, so you can interchange them, okay? So if I were to take this, I could take my green meeple, I could move it once here, or I could move it twice to there, or I can move him directly to Freud or directly to the journalist. Okay. Why do you want to move them? What does that mean? So it's really going to come down to the tags that you are collecting, which is going to become way more apparent as we do the clients, but we can talk about it quickly. So if I go here, 2 spaces, then I am going to get to use these actions here. And it's probably hard to see, but a lot of times it's like gain coffee or generate a purple if I'm in the purple district, or turn this into a heart-shaped box, so on and so forth. So when I land on a space like this, I've got 2 options. I can either count all of my paintbrush tags that I have in my tableau, which starting out, I have 0. You don't have any really to start out. But eventually you could have a lot. So you can have up to 5 of these actions you're going to take. Or you can count how many people are in that spot. So let's pretend the journalist was there. I would say, oh, there's 3 people in that spot. I can take 3 of these actions. And you can take 3 different actions. You could take one of them 3 times, whatever it may be, whatever combination, you can do those. So that's the main part of moving your character around the board. You'll see when you rest, there's also something that you want to be paying attention to. But for right now, this is just a way to move your character around the board and take these actions the more tags you have. If you take this action down here, this means to move Freud 1, 2, or 3 spaces. So you might choose to move him, say I'm pink, and I move him 1, 2. That way I can take that action twice, because now there's 2 people there. So that's a way to move Freud around. So these are map-specific actions. And then the last 2 actions are here, and these have to do with the research cards. I do now realize that I never talked about these during setup. You have research cards, you're going to shuffle them, you're going to put 2 of them out. Okay, so this action down here, which just has a single research card, it kind of looks like a newspaper. This just means you're going to draw a research card, and you're going to draw one, and you're basically going to sit it out, and then you're going to choose from all 3 of them. So I'll choose this one. And this goes into my hand. I have not played it yet. It just goes into my hand. You're going to have a hand of research cards. If you take this action, you have 2 options. You can play 2 research cards from your hand, and they have lightning bolts to let you know. So that one I just drew, I could actually play it. When I play it, I'm going to get whatever this says. So I would get to generate a red on this outer ring. and these are going to just kind of sit in your tableau. I mentioned the tags earlier. You could have things, something like this. You play this one and you're going to get that, but you're also going to have two coffee cup tags to be used later, okay? Or lastly, this action here, you can take it and you are going to basically get to publish one of these. And what that means is you are going to, if you have a red and a green card that you've already played, you're going to tuck them under here and you're going to get this amount of points, but you do have to have a colored insight already unlocked, which we have not talked about. Right now, all we have is clear. So you could not do this book thing yet, but eventually you can. We'll talk about that. And this gives you more tags for the end of the game. Okay, so how do you open up these little colored insights? Well, the way you're going to do that is as you get more and more tiles, the notebook tiles in here, you're going to either fill up columns or you're going to fill up rows. Once you've filled up a whole column or a whole row, you're going to take this. It's going to actually unlock another action down here, and you're going to put this in the middle. Now you can use that as a normal insight if you wanted, but you're probably going to use them mostly for this action or when you recall ideas, which we haven't discussed about, which we'll talk about in a second. All right, so that's the first part of stating an idea, putting your token out here, doing the action. All right. After you do that, you're going to look over here and see which row you have placed them in. Okay, so let's pretend that I did this action. This has 3 ink bottles. I am going to move my ink bottle 1, 2, 3. And then I'm going to be able to activate this whole row. Now, obviously, there's only one thing. There's a pre-printed generate a red insight. Cool, get to do that. But as you have more tiles, you know, say I landed here, I could generate a green, and then I could pay a green to upgrade 2. So the more notebook tiles you have, the more this goes around, lands on things, and starts really comboing up into different, you know, actions that you can, you know, it can become a lot to do on your turn. So you're not only doing this, but you're also triggering this. That also gives you a decision point to make. Do I want to point this here to move my ink bottle twice, or do I want to take the same action but point it like that and move my ink bottle 3 times? So you're going to be paying attention to that. There's a space here and a space here that we should talk about. One, if you move all the way around, eventually you're going to pass this plus symbol. That means to take off the next one of these and go there. And so that's how you're going to unlock these. Once you land on this top spot, that means you're going to trigger a whole column if you've got them unlocked. So these trigger rows, this one triggers columns. And lastly, if you land here, you're going to trigger the reputation track, which is up there at the top. And there is a top row and a bottom row. The bottom row is going to let you do either this section, or this section, depending on where Freud is. And the top row is going to be dependent on where your marker is. And as you gain reputation, the Freud marker gains reputation. So we'll pretend that pink got 1, then Freud is going to move up as well. And you will see a little emblem here that says, hey, you should move Freud. Sometimes he moves, sometimes he doesn't. This is also a way to track the game, because once the reputation, Freud's reputation, gets all the way to the end, then that triggers the end of the game and you all have one more turn. Okay, so that was state ideas. Put little discussion bubbles out. Take this action, whatever it may be. Move things on the board if you need to. Put tiles down. Move your insights around. Decide over here, depending on where you put it, do I do 1, 2, 3, or 4 moves? Move your ink bottle around. Trigger your rows or your columns. All right, and then the next player would go back and forth, back and forth. So eventually, you'll probably end up like this. Let's just pretend where, hey, I'm out of ideas. I have no more spots, no more tokens to place up here, or sometimes the board gets really full and you don't really have any actions you would like to take. If that's the case, you're going to recall the ideas. All that means, basically, like a lot of worker placement games, it's a way to take back all your ideas, put them over here. Now, if you had any light bulbs that you would use, they're going to go back into the supply. You don't take them back. But you are going to count how many different actions you were pointed at. So I pointed at 4 different actions, and I would gain 4 coffee. Okay, so that's going to be a way to get coffee each round or each time you decide to rest or recall actions. And then the last thing you're going to do on the recall actions phase is you're going to get to take a recall, I think these are location bonuses and these are district bonuses. So probably at the start of the game, you're going to be taking location bonuses. And what that means is you can either trigger it where Freud is, where the journalist is, or where your meeple is. But you're going to take the top one of these, and if it happens to be the reputation one, you get a free reputation. And you're going to come over here and you're going to cover up one of these symbols. And if I covered up that one, that's a free tile, boom, put it in my thing. So that will help you kind of decide where do I want to move my meeple using this down here. So when I recall an action or recall an idea, that I'm in a good spot. Alternatively, you might have opened up one of these colored ones, and you might have enough tags over here where you can pay attention to this down here. So if I'm here, well, I could do it because Freud's here, but let's just pretend. I could look at my opera tags, and if I had at least, sorry, not just opera tags, the district is all purple tags. So I could look at opera and the little canvas palette thing. I would count all my tags up that are over here. Again, I don't have any right now, but you'll get more as you play these cards, as you play the treatises, as you help clients, you'll gain the tags. And I could say, well, let's pretend I have 4 tags. I'm going to take that spot up. I get to move my ink bottle once or twice, and I get a free heart-shaped box. So these, you're going to use only these to cover up. So if you haven't unlocked these or you've already used them for treatises, then you're out of luck. But that would be how you're going to recall ideas. You're going to recall them over here, gain the coffee, take a location bonus or a district bonus, depending on where you're at. And then boom, that is your turn and it's on to the next person. Lastly, we are going to be able to treat clients. So we've talked about these influences, right? Or I call them influence. I'm thinking of the South Tigers games, the insights. But what are we even doing with this over here, right? Chris, you keep talking about this, but I don't even know why we're making these. So here is where we're going to jump into these awesome dream cards. So you saw earlier how we stack these up, how you grab them out of the market. And what you're going to concentrate on is this. So you need to gain these 3 insights in order to generate 3 hearts for your client, and you'll get 3 victory points. So I need a bird, this little like flower that hasn't bloomed yet, and a green seed insight. What that would look like is this green, this purple. So all these actions I'm taking over here would be so I could get these insights. And when it's my turn, if I want to treat a client, I'm going to say, okay, I've got these 3 things. I'm going to spin them by just putting them back in the middle. And I got 3 hearts. So I'm going to look down here at my client. I'm going to move this to the left 3 spots. 1, 2, 3. And you are left with this dream. I would grab my 3 points up there, move it around the map, and put this away. Now there's a few things that could happen on this as you move to the left. One, and I mentioned it slightly, if you move over these, you get those points. But this one is really important. If you move over this, that is the grief layer. And that means you get to remove this from the client, and you get whatever is on the left side. So in this case, I would get 2 coffees and a light bulb. The starter grief cards also have this icon because it reminds you that you can take this away, and now I can put a second client here. Okay, so I'm going to put one there just because we do need to discuss what happens if you have 2 clients. So I'm just going to grab randomly some people over here. Let's just say that. So she's got 6 hearts. I would get a point for right there. Okay, so that could be what maybe your office looks like on your, couple turns in. If I were to now treat a client, when I have 2 clients, I cannot treat the same client twice in the same turn, but I can treat each of them once a piece. So I could, on a treat client turn, I could take this, I could spend all this, I could cure her or whatever, and then I could go work on this one on the same turn and turn it in if I had the resources or the insights. What I cannot do is take both of these and basically spend all this and discard them at the same turn. Okay, so that's not allowed. So eventually, if I got these 3 things and I would pay 2 hearts, oh look, I've moved her little token all the way to the left. That means she is cured and I have gained her. I gain 8 points. This is some sort of bonus that will help me out during the game, and then that is a tag that's going to go into my tableau for points and things of that nature. If you end your turn and you have a free office space, so it might look like that, you then draft from the market. You take one of the people, you refill it, you grab one of these, remember, off the top and just flip it over, boom, put it there, and then you draft one of these and place it there. And you would take your person with the grief layer and put them there. So you're always going to have an office that has, once you've unlocked this one, you always have 2 clients in them. You're never going to not have clients in them. The difference between this type of card, which was the routine, and this type of card, which is the case study, really has to do with the points or the way it works down here. Routine is going to give you advantages during the game. These case study people are going to give you points at the end of the game for meeting certain criteria. Okay, so that's how that works. As far as meeting criteria goes, we do have these over here, which are called location goals. So you're going to see the specific goal down here. Like this one is the first person to get 3 routine clients, out of their office because they've cured them. They're going to grab this. That's going to give them a reputation, and it's going to give them 2 tags in their tableau towards the end of the game. So people are going to be like competing for all these cards or tiles over here, and they're going to just add to their tableau because the more tags you have, the better you are at the end of the game. So you're going to go back and forth, doing one of those 3 actions. Eventually that reputation, the gray token, is going to go all the way to the right. At that point, you would, well, I guess this starts actually on the side, which I said wrong in the setup. You flip it over. That means the last round is happening. And then the points are scored at the end of the game. There's a lot. It's like a point salad, but it has to do with how many rows did you fill up in your player board here. How many tags do you have? Do you have a lot of different tags? That helps you. Have you put out a lot of these color tokens in the districts? That helps. Obviously, the points on the actual cards themselves is going to be a giant amount of points there. Let's see. There are also points for the treatises, which we kind of already talked about, but you would have already scored those. So look in the rule book for that. Last thing I'll touch on, just little tiny, I don't know, not really tips and tricks, but things that I kind of missed throughout is I did put out the fireworks. Whatever district that is on, that's going to give you 1 discount. So if I want to take this spot, I would only need 2 red tags. instead of 3. And if somebody uses that, then the firework moves to the next district. It just makes it easier for you to gain the district bonuses. We talked about if you publish these, but you will see that there's this icon up here. So if I had a red and a green card like this, and this was out in front of me, and I published this, someone could come along, and if they needed to, let's say, publish this, and they had 2 purple cards, but they didn't have a green, they could actually take my green card, it's already published, they don't care, and put it there on the end for them, and then they put their 2 purples, but I get 2 points and a light bulb. So it's kind of a way where the more you have published, the more other people might want to use your published knowledge, and at least you get a reward as far as the 2 points and the light bulb goes. They don't have to pay you, you just get it from the bank. And then the last thing is the heart-shaped boxes, which we have not touched on. That is basically a way to move this to the left for free, and you can do it at the end of your turn. So sometimes you might end up with a situation where the amount of cards on these 2 cards did not add up to this amount of hearts. So even though you cured both dreams, and let's just say she's got 6, this would only give us a maximum of 5 if I did both of these. So I could end up with a situation like this, where she's got 1 heart left over, but she has no dreams for us to work on. At the end of my turn, I could spend 1 heart-shaped box, move that, boom, and now I've cured her. You can only have a maximum of 3 heart-shaped boxes. So I think if you go over that, you can turn them into points or something. But you'll want to keep those in mind because that definitely helps you down here. There's a lot of little conversion rates and things where you can turn insights into a heart-shaped box. I'll let you figure that out. It's not hard. The instruction booklet's great. You won't have any problems with that. So, yeah, it's a lot, but hopefully this helped you kind of get into it. I promise you, once you've played it once or twice, it all clicks. It flows really, really well. Yes, there's a lot to take in and go over, but it really doesn't feel overwhelming while you play it. So make sure to go to the website and check out the write-up on Unconscious Mind, where I focus more on the solo version. So if you've never played a solo game, but you might be interested, again, this one, you should probably at least be a pretty hefty board gamer, because tackling this and solo mode as a complete beginner might be a little much. But if you've been a board gamer and you know about modern board games and you just haven't tried solo, then this is a pretty good one. It does replicate playing against another person pretty nicely. And it's not too crazy difficult. I win, half the time, and you can make the difficulty go up, which is nice. So check out the review there. Also, obviously, subscribe to our YouTube so you can see more videos as they come out. Thanks for watching. As always, talk to you later.